Christ Church is talking about rebuilding Emporia because we want to find and encourage young Christian men. What do I mean? Follow my reasoning. The previous post answered the question, in what way does Emporia need rebuilt? In that answer, I argued that Emporia is shrinking economically, politically, because Emporia is shrinking spiritually, and I laid the responsibility for that shrinkage at the feet of Emporia's churches. In doing so, I want to resonate with a certain demographic. So tell me if you can relate. I want to connect with young men and their families that feel that the leaders of the church in Emporia have a responsibility to declare the word of Jesus into our local politics and economics. The Bible seems to have things to say about like drag shows and zoning laws, about sentencing and drug offenders and mental health. The Bible seems to have things to say about schools and about property taxes. Maybe you've noticed that the leaders of the church in Emporia have failed to declare those biblical truths in public, and that their failure in that calling contributes directly to the economic and political shrinkage that we're talking about. If that's something that you've thought, then I want to encourage you. You're not crazy. You're not unspiritual. You're not neglecting the gospel. Quite the contrary, actually. The church and church officers are responsible to declare God's law to the public and to the civil magistrate, and not just to their particular congregation. That's part of their job description. However, because of the uniquely anti-church ecclesiology of the American church, there's no Bible-believing church voice in our community on issues of morality and justice. While the church has remained silent, however, anti-Christian voices, and in that I include the mainline churches that affirm homosexuals and have women pastors, they do understand the importance of speaking to the community. While the churches declare that this world is not our home, the so-called progressives are organized politically and economically to spread their gospel of socialism and homosexuality and tyrannical government control. At this point, note two caveats, right? First, hey, I love my fellow Bible-believing evangelical churches. I appreciate those pastors and their ministries, but for various reasons, they've neglected this part of the gospel of the kingdom of heaven. Maybe and hopefully they'll eventually come around. And second, I would say that our priorities at Christ Church are clear. First of all, it's the right and reverent worship of the triune God. Secondly, it's ministering to our people, to our congregants, and to each other. And then it's third, outreach and speaking. That would come third, but that's an important third still. Notwithstanding those caveats, however, Christ Church is unique in Emporia. We understand that we must work for the good of our city by building Emporia on the cornerstone of Christ in obedience to the Great Commission. One of our mottos is all of Christ for all of life, and that includes bringing the Bible to bear on economic and political matters. The difficulties in accomplishing this are enormous, but this is not a quick fix project. Rebuilding Emporia will be a generational task, but we think there might be like-minded men out there. That's why we're talking like this. It's to connect with maybe you. If that is you, send us a note, and God bless you.